Did you also see how hard it is to get somebody down on the ground, to take control of them? How many cops were there? I don't know, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. It's very difficult to get somebody on the ground, especially that big boy. Hard to get him on the ground. Sometimes nearly impossible. It seems nearly impossible. I'm a light guy. I'm a small dude. My wife would say I'm not anymore, but you should have seen me at depot, RCMP depot. I was strong, but I was light. Like we're talking light, like a feather. Like silly light. And we did a scenario. We did a scenario one day. And the scenario was there's 4 cops, okay? One would play the bad guy. The other 3 were the cops. Those 3, the good guys. Those 3 would try to take the bad guy down. I was a bad guy one day. 3 people had to take me down. They couldn't take me down. I wouldn't let them. It's difficult to take somebody down. I thought it was funny, na 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 na, you can't get me. Running around, squirming. You couldn't get me. You couldn't get me in handcuffs. It is hard to get somebody in handcuffs who doesn't want to be put in handcuffs. It's easy for a bad guy to resist arrest. It's easy to keep your arms under your body. You can't get, especially that guy who's suited up in armor, right? Costume, gladiator costume. And I forgot to tell you, but when the police showed up, he had a gladiator costume on, he had a sword and an armor shield and 2 armor wrist bands on his wrists. Anyways, my point is it's tough to get somebody down. So when you see the cops, how many cops does it take? It sometimes takes a lot. They ended up tasing this guy 6 times. 6 times. And it reminded me of Robert Dziekanski in Vancouver Airport call, where there were 4 members, RCMP members showed up and tasered him 5 times. I think it was 5 times. But if you actually watch the video, not all those 5 tasers were actually getting at him, so it's kind of uncertain how many times Robert got tased. I would say it's less than 5. If 2 probes are not in you and they're not touching the body, then they're not getting tased. It sounds like he's being tased by the taser because the taser's going off, but he's not actually getting tased. So you watch this fella, and it's pretty comparable to the airport file in Vancouver. But yet 2 of those cops went to jail because of that incident. Even though they did everything right, their training was spot on. That's how they taught members how to taser train back then. Robert was the perfect candidate to be tasered that day. And yet 2 cops, I think their names were Robinson and Millington, went to jail. I can't wait to talk about that video one day when I know all the facts. I know quite a bit, but I can't wait to break that one down. Can you believe it? They went to jail for tasering a guy out of the airport? Sometimes people die, guys. Sometimes they die. They get worked up. They get in a fight with police. They get worked up and they die. This guy the whole time was saying he couldn't breathe, even though his shirt was ripped off him. His wife beat her. He was even talking after that. So it wasn't, was he going into cardiac arrest then? Possible. I think so. If I had to guess, I would say yeah. That's what happened to Dziekanski. He had a heart attack. He stopped breathing. Sometimes they die. Sometimes it's called excited delirium, where no matter what you're going to do, they're going to die. And the whole workup of interacting with police, resisting arrest, they die. I don't know why, I'm not a doctor, but it happens. And 2 of those members, RCMP members, went to jail. But it's amazing to me. And not one RCMP member said anything about it. Not one. And why? Why am I even talking about this? It just reminded me of this. Robert Dziekanski comes to Vancouver, can't find his mummy at the airport. Where's my mummy? Starts throwing shit around, gets tased. He's all sweaty, excited delirium. He dies. 4 members' lives destroyed. And destroyed. Nobody did anything for them. A judge decides that 2 need to go to jail and 2 don't. Bonkers.